Welcome to this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, the Connections Pastor at Northwood Baptist Church here in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. And welcome to episode 277 of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast, and thank you for listening. And I do want to remind you, Apple Podcast or whatever podcast system you're using is great, and go ahead and if you will just go ahead and enroll, subscribe, whatever the word is.
Enroll like a class.
And it just pops up every time and says, your Connecting Faith to Life podcast is ready.
Subscribe pops. You don't enroll, you subscribe.
I know, but I'm Life Connection Group, so I always think of enrolling people.
Well, you subscribe. Like
All
a
right.
magazine.
Got it.
Subscribe.
Got it.
Pops up. Yeah, you get those notifications. They
So
pop up on your
boom,
phone.
then you can just hit it and listen in the car as soon as you see it.
Hey,
So,
I updated. I've got a new iPhone. I had an old one.
which one did you get?
I've got the 16, just a regular old 16.
What is that thing it does where it like sweeps? They show
I have no
you.
idea.
It does some crazy
I
thing
don't
on the
know.
screen. So
I don't know. I mean, it's no different than my other one, except the battery works. Like my other one,
the battery
30 minutes
gone.
is gone, and like
How long did you have yours?
I don't know, a bunch of years because
Yeah, I
it was
knew
an
yours
old
was
model,
older, yeah.
and I'm so cheap, I didn't want to upgrade, but like, it was just time. It was time to upgrade, and so this one has, as of today, because Apple just did a release on their iOS, it now has artificial intelligence.
Oh wow!
I have no idea what that means.
So that just means we don't ever have to think again.
That's right.
We just kind of sit it there and say, "Write me a sermon," and boom, it's there. Do me a podcast, boom, it's there. You know.
Yeah, I was having this conversation. This is completely unrelated to anything we're going to talk about. I was having a conversation with one of my students at CSU yesterday because the Bible software we use, Logos Bible software, you have it. I have it.
Yeah.
I bought it back in when I was in seminary. So years and years ago, my parents bought for me when I graduated with my master's degree, Logos Bible software.
That is a great
And that was
gift.
back in the day when they sent you. Literally, they sent me in the mail 25 CD-ROMs.
Oh, CD! I got
CDs.
floppy disks.
Oh, so I
See,
did,
I'm
yeah.
even older.
So I got CDs to put in my computer to load this Bible software, and it's amazing. But it's all cloud-based now and all that kind of stuff. And so every couple of years, this is no exaggeration. I know I exaggerate a lot, but I've probably invested over the years, I would say $15,000 worth of stuff, like commentaries and Bible helps, and it's been well worth it. I use it every day of my life. It's one of the most greatest, Bible study aids I have. And so they just released it with artificial intelligence.
So what does that mean to us? Seriously.
It's amazing. Like,
so you have used it?
Yeah. Because I bought because I'm a sucker for everything new. Well, not really, but I was a sucker for
when
this.
it comes to Logos.
Well, yeah, right. So this update. So you know how you have the little search button?
Yeah.
You click the search button and you can type in any question you want. Like I typed in what were Augustine's views on the Trinity or something like that, right?
Wow.
And what it will do is so wild. It will search the whole Logos database. Like not just the books you bought, like everything they have. And it will give you like a 2-paragraph summary footnoted with every resource that it is amazing. It will even do like with sermon stuff, it will you can put your outline into it and it shoots it back out and corrects things and it's just it is wild, crazy stuff that it does. AI is weird and it's crazy and it's going to take over the world and we are going to be useless.
Yeah.
We're going to have robots. We're going to get a Tesla robot in here.
I think we're going to find that it's not as great as it is. But anyway.
It's fun to play with.
It is fun.
I'm sorry.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah. So I got Apple artificial intelligence on my phone to remind me of my podcast, and I don't know what else it does. And then I got my Bible software AI. And
well, however you get the word out. It might be artificial intelligence.
That's right. Get your robot to tell somebody.
Just make sure that you are letting people know about Connecting Faith to Life.
Yep.
And get them to subscribe.
Yep.
And also do what Pastor Tommy says, man. Hit those stars and give us a rating and all those good things. It help. Is it stars or checks? What is it now?
Leave us a 5-star review.
5-star review.
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
there you
yes,
go.
Yes.
Anyway, it certainly helps us get the word out about Connecting Faith to Life.
It does.
And speaking of AI, there is one thing that AI hopefully will never do, and that's vote for me. So we do need to know how to vote.
Maybe AI would create a better president for us.
Don't even. Oh man, that's getting into parody now. But anyway, I hope that never happens.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, yeah.
But It wouldn't be that difficult.
We're there. Like we are. It's Tuesday,
yes.
October 29th. Next Tuesday,
1 week
we
away.
go to the polls. Or many who are listening probably have already voted. You've already voted.
I voted
Okay,
yesterday.
so I didn't tell you this when we were talking about this before we started, but I actually tried to go vote today.
Where did you go?
The Hanahan Library.
Oh, that's nuts.
It was amazingly nuts. So I had to go to Best Buy to pick up a card for this machine that we use to record our podcast. The soundboard's not machine sound. Why don't we get the right terms in? Sound like an old guy when I say machine. But anyway,
hanging around me too much.
Right, so I went to the Hanahan Library because I looked online and saw because the way that our counties are here they're
weird, man.
Like it makes no sense to me that Hanahan is Berkeley County.
It's because they're 350 years old. That's why the county lines are 350 years old.
Seriously, like that makes no sense. It's just across the street from us is Berkeley County. I live in Berkeley County, 45 miles from here. It doesn't make any sense. So, at any rate, I went to Hanahan Library to cast my vote. There were 14,000 people in line.
And then the seniors are trying to get in to do the curbside voting.
Yeah,
and
curbside voting.
Yeah, and they will actually sit there in their cars, and then what'll happen is, and this is me going home.
Yeah,
they bump out into the road.
That's right, because you live over there.
They bump out into the road, and you can't drive by.
You're
stuck.
It was a massive.
There is no movement in the light or at the traffic light there or anything. So
it was probably about 1:15 or so when I went to try to vote. Maybe it was a little bit later, maybe 1:30. I don't know.
It is crazy.
And so I thought Thursday afternoon people don't work. Like what's going on?
This is Tuesday, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Tuesday, and I can't keep my day straight. Stacy said it was because of lunch break. Maybe so. I don't know because I called her and told her, hey, this is crazy. But man, so I guess I'm going to go vote on the actual voting day. And there's probably going to be nobody there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because everybody will already have voted, which is great. 5 minutes in and out.
Yeah.
So I tried to early vote. Didn't work. I'm on the day vote.
Kelly and I went. She got off work early. I left when she told me she was leaving. I got there first, saved her a place in line.
Yeah.
And we walked. I was there for an hour. And then she walked in 5 minutes.
So and that's the thing. Like, if you're going to early vote, like, there should be a benefit to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to wait an hour. I'm just going to vote on election day.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
So, like, if you're going to early vote, you should be able to walk in and walk out in 30 seconds.
Both sides are telling you to early vote. So, whether you're Democrat, Republican, everybody is pounding you in the head to vote now, vote now, vote now, vote now. So,
did you see the video on one of the news channels? I don't know, where apparently somewhere where they have the voting boxes, you drop in your ballot thing, they burned them.
Incendiary device is what they call it.
Oh my goodness!
So those will never be found. And I just found out that 1,600 or 1,700 18-year-old voter registrations were not put into the voter registration. And then they went to the judge, and the judge says it's too late. So these were people that 18-year-olds that checked it on their driver's licenses, and it didn't get through. So that's another 1,800 that won't be able to vote. So
every country's broken. Ours is too. Hopefully, we'll have an election that represents the actual votes of our people. And
we hope. We hope. We'll see.
At any rate, whatever happens next Wednesday morning when I wake up, regardless of how it turns out, I'm going to get up and go to my job and love Jesus and my family and just move on.
I know. It's just a frustrating level.
It is frustrating.
Because, the first line of the Constitution, we the people.
Yeah.
And you feel like sometimes it's not we the people. It's something else working that it's not us. And anyway.
So let me segue today.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
I'm going to take it from you. Are you okay with that?
Do it.
I'm going to get a segue. So regardless of the brokenness of our nation, and even when it seems our system of voting might be a little bit messed up sometimes, as Americans and as Christians, we have a tremendous opportunity when we go to the polls and vote.
We do.
And I've had lots of conversations over the last few months about voting, and can we as Christians make an argument for not voting? Well, maybe so. I mean, maybe in some extreme circumstances, But the majority of us would say, hey, we have a responsibility, and as followers of Jesus, even there's a tremendous opportunity to vote, that we should, as followers of Jesus, vote. Right? Like to not vote would be a waste of an opportunity that God in His grace has given us in this nation. So it's very important that we can vote, that we vote. Right? So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And now here's what I know about our church. I haven't ran across, and there may be some people in our church. I haven't ran across anybody in our church that would say, "Hey, I think voting's a bad idea." I just don't know about our church that would say that. Maybe there is someone.
Sure.
But maybe there are some people who are listening who think voting is a bad idea. I have no idea. My hunch is that most everybody listening to this episode, 99.9743% of you are going to vote this election. You either have voted or you will vote. And so you already know it's important. But here's the question, why? Why is it important that we as Christians, now we know why as American citizens, why it's important, right? But why is it important that we as Christians cast our vote for this election?
All right.
And so I want to talk about that. We're going to have to go fast because we've already talked about a lot of random stuff, but we're going to talk about 7 reasons.
7 reasons.
7 reasons why it's important for you to vote.
Reason number 1, voting is an act of stewardship.
Yeah. So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So you think about what stewardship is. Someone who is a steward in biblical terms is someone who is a manager over something, right? That God allows us, right, to steward over the things that he has given us. And so if you think about it, here we are as followers of Jesus. God has given us the opportunity to live in this country.
That's right.
We don't live in England. We don't live in Iceland. That'd be cold. We don't live in Russia. We don't live in North Korea. By God's grace and his design, he's allowed us to live here. And so we are a steward of the responsibilities that he gives us in this country. And the way this country is set up, right? We weren't here when it was set up this way, but thank God our founding fathers set it up this way. It was set up as constitutional republic and democracy that we have the opportunity to vote. And so it is being a good steward of what God has given us in this country to go to the polls and actually vote. So I think not voting would be a bad steward of what God has given us in this country. Because not voting, right, would be to squander the opportunity he's actually given us. So it is, I think, really a matter of Christian stewardship. There's a responsibility that God has given us to have an influence on this society by the way that we vote.
Amen. That's true. Voting is an act of stewardship, and I feel seriously. I feel like I have been given that stewardship, and I take it very seriously. Yeah. And even though it's one vote, my one vote counts towards whatever it is. And so I want to steward the purpose and the plan of God as much as I'm able to do.
And that's the thing too, right? Like there's the temptation, especially when it comes to presidential election. Now, there's going to be more on the ballot than the president of the United States. But when it comes to the presidential election, there's almost this attitude of my vote doesn't count, especially when you're in a state that's not, one of the swing states. Like here we are in South Carolina. Most of us probably know which way it'll go because of how this state usually votes, right? We're not Pennsylvania. We're not Michigan. And so we're not one of those swing states.
Right.
But even, if we know which way it's going to go, you still have a personal responsibility. And furthermore, there are other people on the ballot. And honestly, right, through our vote, we're going to probably bring about more change in our community by the way we vote in our local elections and our state elections, right? Like that really matters, who's on those local ballots and those state ballots, and just being and educating ourselves about who the candidates are on a local and state level, because that's where a lot of changes can come in our state, is who we put in office here in our own state, right? And so listen, you might think, well, it's already decided, whatever the case may be, it still doesn't alleviate your responsibility for you to actually go to the polls and do what you need to do as a steward of what God has given you in this country.
In ways, it reminds me of people that say, well, it doesn't matter if I share the gospel or not, because somebody's going to share the gospel. And I know it's not the same thing, but it's still that same sort of attitude. It'll happen, even if I don't do it.
Yeah.
That's to me, is just a rough attitude. Yeah. Anyway, all right, number 2, voting shows love for your neighbors through civic engagement.
Yeah, because we have neighbors who are hurting.
Yeah, we really do.
Now, we need to love our neighbors in very practical ways, right? Like when you see someone who is in need, meet that need. When you see someone who, needs a little hope or encouragement, encourage them, right? So there's lots of practical ways that we engage in loving our neighbor. But voting is a way that we love our neighbor, because there are policies that really do matter, that really do harm people long term, if you think about it, right? You think about inflation. We are all struggling with that. That's not just, a me problem or you problem. That's like we're all struggling with this inflation thing. We need to think about policies that are going to help bring inflation down, so that when we go to the grocery store, right, that family that might live on lesser income than you or me can actually buy their groceries.
Right.
I mean, that's loving our neighbor, is going to the polls and voting for that candidate who represents our values and who is going to enact policies that are actually going to help people. You think about, one of the things that's been so talked about in this election because of Roe v. Wade and the overturning, in the past couple of years has been abortion. It has been front and I don't remember an election where it's been as front and center as it has been this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always an issue. It's always talked about, but this year, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade and all those kind of things, it has been front and center. Well, that's loving our neighbor, right? Like there are precious children in the womb that have been created by God that may not get a chance at life based on the policies that are set by our leaders. So an act of loving my neighbor is, from my perspective, from a biblical perspective, is to vote in such a way that promotes life, not takes life. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so when I'm going to the polls to vote, it is a stewardship, a responsibility, but it's also an act of loving my neighbor. That I'm going to vote for a candidate and again, here's what we know: there is no perfect candidate.
Heavens no.
Right?
Like we said, maybe AI will make one for us one day. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be careful in the things that I say.
Yes.
As I'm kind of thinking through this. But there's no perfect candidate, and we're not in this election. To the best of my knowledge, neither one of these candidates has professed a resounding faith in Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Right. Based on my knowledge, neither one of these candidates are following Jesus in the same way that you and I are, Trey.
That's right.
So they are very imperfect candidates. But I've got to do my best to research the policies and to see what the candidate's saying and how to see, okay, which one can I align myself with, knowing they're both imperfect.
Right.
That's going to best represent what I think are the values that I hold, or what the values I hold, and what I think are going to be the policies that are really going to affect my neighbor.
Yeah, I agree.
You see, so it is an act of loving your neighbor.
All right, let's get to reason number 3, and that is voting allows you to be salt and light in society.
Yeah, so this is what Jesus says, right? Mm-hmm. In Matthew chapter 5, he calls us to be salt and light. Now, again, we live in a completely different context than a first century Jewish person. We've talked about this before. They didn't vote.
Mm-hmm. They didn't have that opportunity.
They did not have that
anything.
opportunity.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to the polls and voting on presidents who would represent their values and enact policies that would help. They didn't have that option. Mm-hmm. But it didn't change their responsibility to their community.
That's true.
Right? Romans 13, Paul calls believers to submit to the government. Mm-hmm. In those days, a government that would have been very oppressive. In the Gospels of Jesus, be salt and light. Right, you might not be able to change the candidate, or in those days it wasn't candidate. You might not be able to change who the emperor is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can live your life in such a way that you're salt and light. So light, right, shining the gospel into the darkness, being a source of hope, right, in dark days. Salt is what? It's something in the ancient world that was used more to preserve than it was used to flavor food.
That's right.
They didn't have deep freezers. That'd been terrible not have a deep freezer. You know what I'm saying?
I can't imagine.
They didn't have deep freezers. They had salt, and so salt would preserve. And even if you go to different parts of the world today, I think about all the times I've been to Russia. Now they have refrigeration there. But you ever had some salted meat that's been preserved for a long time?
I have.
Oh, in Russia, you go to the gas station. It's got all this salted fish. It's just laying out everywhere.
You ever had country ham?
Oh, yes, nasty, yes.
Oh, my
Back
heavens.
in the day, I remember that at my
heavens.
grandmama's house, having that country ham.
And you didn't refrigerate it. Pulled it out.
But, man, you're talking about light you up. That was some salty stuff.
But it preserved the meat.
It preserved. But anyway, that's the idea, though, that Jesus has called us to be salt. Here's the deal. We know because here's what salt does. Salt preserves, but how long does salt preserve? Not indefinitely.
That's right.
It just slows down the deterioration. Right?
Yeah.
We know where this world is heading. We know that this world is heading towards a conclusion. We know that there's going to be more difficult days to come, all those kind of things. We can't stop what's coming, right, as far as difficult days and all those kind of things. But we can, by the way that we live our lives, right, bring some preservative, if you will. We can slow down the process of rotting by the way that we live our lives, being salt and light in this world, and being an influence on others for the sake of the gospel. So why that matters when we vote is that's a way of being salt.
Yeah, it really
when
is.
we vote for candidates that align with our values and enact policies that we think are helpful for society, like it's better to have those kind of candidates than the candidates who are not helpful for our society. And so it really is a way of being salt and light in the way that we vote.
Even if we think of this world being Babylon, which we do, I've just finished reading this, and the Israelites were commanded when they went to Babylon to invest in that place they were, and it's the same way.
That's the next point.
All right, number 4. Voting allows you to seek the welfare of the city.
Because that's exactly what Jeremiah says in Jeremiah 29:7, when the Israelites were in Babylonian captivity, there for 70 years because of their rebellion against God. Jeremiah the prophet, God tells the people through Jeremiah the prophet, hey, do good in the city, right? Pray for your leaders, right? You want, even though you're in a place you don't want to be,
right? You
want Babylon to be successful. You want the welfare of the city so that your lives will go well, right? So that you'll be good, right? And so the idea in Babylon was, hey, you prosper here. I know it's not where you want to be, but prosper in the place where God has you in this time. And so here we are, like, we get it. In a lot of ways, America is like Babylon.
Yeah.
We would like to think this is a Christian nation. I know we have Christian heritage and Christian roots and all those kinds of things. But by and large, we live in a secular culture.
That's right.
That is anti-God. But it's where we are. It's where God has us. And so we want good for this country. We want to see this country do well, because when this country thrives, right, we have an opportunity to thrive. And when this country thrives, we have an opportunity to live even more for our faith and all those kind of things. And so listen, we want the welfare of our city. We want the welfare of our nation. It's good.
It is.
It's good for everybody. And so voting with that in mind, that God in His Word tells the Israelites, right, pray for the good of your city, right? Same thing here. Pray for the good of our city. We want to see it flourish. We want to see people flourishing, right? That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and it is a bad thing to have the attitude we want to burn this place to the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
I don't mean physically burn it, but with that attitude. All right, reason number 5. Voting allows you to stand against injustice and advocate for godly values.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, going back to the issue of abortion, or you think about some of the other issues we're facing in this election cycle, things like immigration, transgenderism.
Yeah.
Like, there's all kinds of big issues that are on the line with this election. And so this is our opportunity. This is our opportunity to stand for the unborn. This is our opportunity to stand for traditional values and sexuality by God's design. Now, I get it, because we are living in an imperfect world. Neither of these candidates are going to get it exactly right. But the Republican platform and the Democratic platform are different, and you need to know how those platforms are different. But we have the opportunity to vote for in such a way that we are advocating for godly values, and we are standing against injustice.
And that is not a bad thing. I think everybody thinks, I was taught once I became a believer that politics was dirty and stay out. Yeah, it does get dirty at times. Yeah. But you know what? We are supposed to go back to the salt and light of the world. Sometimes we have to get in the dirt a little bit to make sure.
There's nothing wrong with
and I don't mean getting sinful. I mean, we have to expose ourselves to stuff we might not want to be exposed to, so that others can hear the truth.
Yeah.
Reason number 6, voting gives you an opportunity to honor those who have defended and died for our country, and I love this one.
I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is.
Right? Like, you think about the history of our nation. You think about the founding fathers. You think about, I'm almost done. I've got about because I'm listening to it on Audible. I've got about 2 hours left of this lengthy biography I've been listening to on Thomas Jefferson.
Wow. Yeah.
He was an amazing man.
He was.
I don't believe he was a follower of Jesus, but
he was
an amazing man.
Yeah.
Just very intellectual, very much a diplomat. But man, those guys, Jefferson and Washington, they fought hard. They fought hard for democracy.
They did.
They did not want in any way for America to become a monarchy.
Yeah.
Right? They were so scared's not the right word. They fought to make sure that didn't happen.
Well, they had lived through it. They had lived through the monarchy and knew how terrible it was.
So, like, I was listening this morning, like, even Jefferson, once he was elected, he was trying to figure out, okay, how's this presidential thing going to work? And there was some, conversation when presidential terms were being set up that they would be set for a 7-year term, not a 4-year term. And our founding fathers, thought, well, that's a bit too long because in over 7 years, there's got to be an opportunity somewhere in there for the people to say, you're doing a bad job. You need to get out. Right. And so they came up with a 4-year term. And then, to begin with, it wasn't 2 terms and you're done. It was whatever, right? And then, that Washington, after a second term, made the decision not to run for a third term. And so Jefferson made the decision after his first term that he would run again for a second term, but he wanted to follow the example of Washington. He was going to not run again. And in his writings, he said, if I stop after 8 years, Washington doing that, now Adams was a 1 term, right? He was 1 term. Yeah. So you had Washington 2 terms, Adams 1, Jefferson 2. And so in his writings, he said, by me following in Washington's footsteps, we have set precedent that others will follow. They were, in other words, like, if we keep going term after term after term, what's going to distinguish us from a monarchy, right? And so anyway, all that to say, these guys were passionate about this nation being a democracy where people had a voice, and the politicians really did represent the people that voted for them.
And ultimately, the reason that we do go to defend our nation is so that we will always have that freedom to be able to, so that we are not run by a chancellor or a king of some sort,
and so you think about
monarchy type
you think
idea.
About all these wars we've had over years, right? Whether it was revolutionary, whether it was Civil War or other, whatever, right?
World War II.
World War II, where the threat of, the whatever, I can't remember the, I'm drawing a blank, but all that to say, we have really had men and women who've made tremendous sacrifice for our nation so that we can remain the kind of nation that we are.
And that is
to not vote, right? To not vote, it really doesn't honor.
It is. I just believe it's the most basic of responsibilities as a citizen of a nation.
Yeah. And so it's our way of saying thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks be to God, obviously, but also thanks to those who've gone before us and paid the ultimate price for our freedom.
Amen. And then 7, and the final reason, voting shows that you care about who your leaders are as you commit to pray for them.
Yeah. You should care about who your leaders are. It should matter to you.
You shouldn't say, I just don't care.
I don't know. Yeah. And it's amazing, right? Like how many people don't care. But we do care because we know that there's much at stake in our country. And we do care because these are real people.
That's right.
Donald Trump, like him or not, is a real person, made in the image of God. Kamala Harris, like her or not, like she's a real person made in the image of God. And believe it or not, like both these individuals are loved by God.
That's right.
And in God's way, he's using them for whatever purpose, right, that he's planned. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we should care about that. We should care about them. We should care about their hearts, and we should pray for them. That's the admonition that Paul gives Timothy. Pray for your leaders who are in high power, right? Pray for them so that we might lead quiet and peaceable lives.
I love that verse.
Yeah. Because, I sure do want a quiet and peaceable life. But it is good to care about who's in charge, and it's good to care for them as individuals as you demonstrate that in the way that you pray for them, right? It's not just praying, help whomever, Joe Biden to be a good president so the economy can be good and so, the stock market will go up and I can retire someday. It's God, you made Joe Biden in your image. And I don't know what it's going to take for you to get a hold of his heart, but I ask that you do.
Amen.
You made Donald Trump in your image. You made Kamala Harris in your image. And I don't know what it's going to take for you to get a hold of their hearts, but God, would you please?
Amen.
Right? Like that. That is the heart of a follower of Jesus, that even with individuals who are in high office that we might disagree with vehemently, right? We still see them as God sees them, people who need a Savior, and we pray to that end.
Amen. Well, Pastor, thank you. We do encourage our people. If you are registered, and you might have to have been registered, but get out there and vote. Bring your driver's license with you, and they'll use the picture if you have been registered to let you vote. So,
I wouldn't know because I didn't get to go today because there's 14,000 people.
That's
online.
all it takes. You don't even have to bring your voter registration anymore. Just your picture. They already have everything else signed up if you have registered. So
there you go.
We encourage you to do it, and we
wear
look forward
sticker.
Yeah,
where's your sticker? What did you didn't vote today? You voted.
Yeah, that was
ago.
yesterday,
Right.
but they didn't give me one. I was bummed. They said they'd run out. So many people.
That's what I'm saying. Election day, it's just gonna be me. I'll be the only one who shows up.
And
you'll
get
great.
You can.
I'll get a bunch of stickers.
Yeah, I was going to say
It's
get a
gonna be
bunch
awesome.
of them.
Yeah.
All right, Pastor. Well, thank you. Why don't you close us out and get us ready for next week?
All right. Well, I do hope today's episode has been helpful for you. And if it has been helpful, right, Pops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not the enroll button, the subscribe button, so you can have new content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review because that really does help us to get word out about the podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.